Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name's Troy Hudkins. This is Lessons for Life podcast, and my guest tonight is Jon Bird. Jon, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome. Nice to get new
I've always
people.
I've always wanted to be interviewed. I always thought it'd be after a hockey game or something, but that's good too. That's fine.
This will work.
Yeah.
So to start with, who is Jon Bird?
Oh, uh, John is a giant sports nerd. Um, he is a dad to a special needs girl, um, which I think is worth mentioning because it is a different life. And husband and just hard worker, I think.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Right on. So you have a special needs daughter,
yeah,
and that takes a toll in your life. It's obviously a lot of work for you guys.
yeah. It's a challenge. It's a blessing. It's all the above. It's happy. It's sad. It's all over the place, and it's why I felt the need to say it because it
Yeah,
is, a different journey than a lot of other things. And not that I think like by any means that it's harder. It's just different, and it's something that kind of sets me apart. So
right.
that's why I mention it.
Yeah, you gotta be a strong person to do that all the time. It's a lot of work mentally and physically, right?
You have to be a strong person, exactly, physically, mentally, and you need a partner that's the exact same and will back you up when times are tough. And that's what I am very, very lucky to have as well. So
Right on. That's awesome. So what is your why?
my why, my why um, is I'm always trying to prove um, myself and to others, um, to constantly try to do my best and to um, just just be my best basically at all times. And um, yeah, just it's mostly with me. I know a lot of people say my why is my family. That's also me, but it's me being my best for my family and just trying to always contribute is probably
Nice.
a good word for it. So yeah.
Right on. Yeah. What do you think sets you apart from other, like say your friends and stuff? What sets you apart as a person?
I have very high expectations of myself. Um, I'm not going to be the best at everything, but the things I know I can do, I am going to give 110% on. And I find a way to whatever situation it is. Um, I am not somebody who could build anything from scratch. I am not somebody who is good fixing cars. That's not me. But you know what? If a car needs fixing, you know what? I could hold a flashlight. Austin says I could hold a flashlight with the best of them. I could whatever is needed, or I could do something else. If somebody else is fixing the car, I'll do something else. So I think I always try to find what I can bring to the table at all. With whatever it is. So
Yeah, and then those things that you find that you can do, you go hard with.
absolutely,
Nice.
absolutely.
Nice.
Anybody in the family needs their computer fixed, they come to me. So
You're the guy. 110%.
yeah.
Right on. That's awesome. Um, who do you think has been your biggest influence in your life, your mother or your father?
um, I'd say for my hard work, it's my father. Um, the man worked for 30 years at Syncrude. Very hard job. Had perfect attendance, which is just unheard of
Yeah.
days. Sick days, no, took vacation days, and was just one of the hardest workers, and like even from anything, doing the lawn, it was perfection. Shoveling the driveway, which you go and do as a kid, and you're like, "Look, I did the driveway." But then at 10 o'clock, you hear your dad out there finishing up and scraping right to the
'Cause-
bottom and getting it finished, and you're like, "Okay, not quite perfect, I guess, but but uh, hard work from him." As far as a person who showed me how to treat others was my mother. Um, he is somebody who gets along with a lot of different people, um, can talk to a lot of different people, which as a child was very frustrating because she could and would talk to anybody, and you were sitting standing beside her twiddling your thumbs for a while. So, but as far as how to treat people, and also a hard worker, not that she wasn't, but um, I mean, to just see how to treat people was my mother's.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you so from your dad? You learned some of your skills, your life skills. Um, do you mow your lawn at the angle like they do at the golf courses and stuff?
Unfortunately, I do not have that perfection gift that my father does. He has
Uh,
way more patience for stuff like that than I ever will, and so I did not get all of that from him. But um, you know what? Allison says that she doesn't do the laundry anymore because she doesn't do it right according to me. So I think I did pick up a few things from him as well. So
right on,
yeah.
right on. That's awesome. I don't my lawn. It's lucky it gets cut.
Yeah.
If if it gets
Dude,
cut and the grass gets thrown out, that's a
yeah.
bonus. Yeah, that's awesome. Of all the good traits that your parents showed you, what do you think is your, if you could pick one trait from your mother and from your father to pass on to your younger generations, what would it be?
um, for like you said, for my father, it would 100% be the value of hard work.
Okay,
Um, he was never somebody who aspired to be at the top of a profession or to do keep reaching, but he was there, and you could trust when you gave him a job, it was going to be done. And that's something that I really, really, really strive to do in anything that's ever given to me. I do not want to be given a job and then people be like, "Ugh." I mean, I guess that's that lesson from the shoveling the snow. It's like I don't want somebody to have to come in and clean up after me. So it was a lesson that you kind of learned by yourself, but it was taught that do a job, you do it right, and I think that is like a big lesson from my father that I would love to teach my children.
nice. That's a good
Mother,
lesson. Your
yeah,
kids, teaching kids the value of hard work
yeah,
and also the satisfaction of hard work, right? I mean, when you work hard at something, you get it done and you accomplish it.
yeah.
For them, that's a big thing. Look what I did, kind of thing. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and anytime they come to me and tell me that, hey, I did this, I'm like, awesome. I'm so glad you did that. Even if I'm the one now that has to go back up and,
Finish
maybe
it.
sweep a few more things or whatever it is, I make sure that they know that they did a good job when I know they've tried and done their best. So
Nice.
that's the big thing.
Cool.
Yeah. And then for my mom, I think um, again, it's to be kind to everybody.
Yeah.
Um, you never know. You give everybody a chance, I think, is a big thing.
Yeah.
Um, you can hear a lot of things about a lot of people, and you got to give everybody a chance before you can decide whether that person is worth continuing time with or not. And I think that's a big thing I learned from my mother. She talked to everybody, no matter if so and so is like, oh, this person is this or this person is that. My mom would give the time of day to anybody. So I think
Nice.
that's the biggest lesson that I learned from her is that you got to you gotta just treat people as an open book when you meet them, and then you can decide from there what you think.
Right.
Don't let others
Right.
or anybody else influence you on that.
That's awesome. So just a little story on talking to anybody.
Yeah.
So I years ago, and I don't know if you were on Pat's hockey team when we took the trip to Minnesota or not, but we went
Hmm.
down to Minnesota for a tournament,
Yeah.
and driving down from Fort McMurray all the way down to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then every time we stopped to fill up with gas, my kids would just shake their head at me because I'd be outside filling the vehicle, but talking to the guy on the other pump,
Yeah.
right? And that's just what I did, kind of like your mom. Hey, where
Yeah.
are you from? What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And funny thing, we stopped at this one gas station. I chatted with this one guy, and I don't even remember where he was headed or whatever.
Yeah.
But we had gone to Minnesota, and when we left coming back, I don't remember if the car was overheating or something. I don't even remember what it was.
Hmm.
But we had pulled over to the side of the road, and we're sitting there for a little bit, and this car pulls up behind us, and they get out and they come to see if we're all right. And you know who it was? The guy from the other side of the
Yep.
gas pump, right? So, like you said, you never know when it's gonna, come back or be useful or something. Like it's amazing the people you touch and the people you talk to and how that all intertwines.
Yeah, a hello, a smile, anything like that, even the littlest things is something. I mean, my daughter's nonverbal. JC's nonverbal, but she'll throw a smile at you, and you'll feel a little better about yourself if she throws
Oh,
you a smile.
she
She,
communicates.
yeah. She could
She
also throw you a
definitely.
dirty look too. Let's get it straight too. But she'll throw that smile out at you, and it's hard to not smile back at her. So
Yeah,
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 it's amazing what those little things can do.
yeah. And when you do something for her, she gets the biggest grin.
Yeah,
Or if you
hundred
say
percent.
hi to her,
Yeah,
it's like, it's the top of the world.
yeah, yeah,
It's
hundred
pretty
percent.
amazing. Yeah. So you have siblings, you
Yes,
have brothers.
I have a brother. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So growing up, what kind of impact do you think your brother had on you or you had on your brother?
um, I don't think he would have appreciated how our growing up went. There's a lot of battles going on, but he pushed me to be better. Um, you know, and you're just kids and you're just playing and you don't realize it. But I always felt like, as the older brother, I needed to be better and kind of show him the way. Um, you know, do the right thing, and then maybe lead by example that way. Um, we were very close in age. We're only 2 years apart. So, I mean, like I said, it was. I mean, if there wasn't a weekend where one of us got hurt, I mean, what was the weekend for? But
Right.
it was awesome. You always had somebody to play with, and like even friends like kind of mix in because it was only 2 years apart. And there was the big brother, little brother, you know, rivalry is at the
Yeah.
same time, but it was good. Like I enjoyed, and we're friends now that we're older. But yeah, it kind of just battle it out and
Yeah.
push each other to be better. So
So as younger kids, like my kids growing up too, there's always, contention or they argue or fight or
yep,
whatever.
yep.
But now, like you said, that you're older, like, do you guys call each other all the time and say, "Hey, what are you doing? You want to go out? Let's do this or whatever"?
um
Like,
you know
the relationship has evolved, right?
It has evolved. It has evolved. It's evolved way more. There's not as much competitiveness, but you put a couple
Even though
controllers
you
in our
still are
hands.
better,
But yeah, no, it's
right?
it's definitely like it's something I need. We should probably get better at. Is more communication between the two of us. But like when we get together, we have the same personality, laugh at the same sort of things, and get along very, very well. Like there's nothing better than going out golfing with my brother and hanging out.
As
So
long as he doesn't wear a Canucks jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think working for Rodgers and the Oilers, he's kind of now an Oilers fan, so I don't
Okay.
have to worry about that as much. So it's okay. It's okay.
Nice. Right
Still gives
on.
me a hard time about my Senators, but
Oh, there
that's
you go.
that's warranted a little bit, so that's okay.
Well, if you have to,
Yeah.
go for the Senators, that's okay. Um, what, which person outside of your family do you
Mhm.
think has had the largest impact on your life?
Um, I had a hockey coach, um, Barry Reed. Um,
I know Barry.
yeah, very, very influential growing up. Um, I had. It's funny. I'm a true believer in everything happens for a reason. Um, it was Pee Wee, and they had time trials back then to kind of slot you into, which division you're going into, upper division, lower division, sort of thing, right? Trying to figure out where you are, and I had started playing like rep travel soccer about the year before, so I kind of had that experience where I kind of knew what the higher level of soccer was. But with hockey, I'd always just kind of gone up every stage. So you start in B, go to A or whatever it was. You kind of just progressed, and that's kind of how it went. So I did my first year Pee Wee, and I did my time trials. Well, I bought new pants that year, and for some reason the belt wasn't working. I switched from suspenders to a belt. Belt wasn't working. So I did my time trials and I was pulling up my pants the whole time because I was like, last thing I need is everybody watching me and my pants fall down. Like so whatever. Sacrifice time ends up I end up in Pee Wee D. And I get down there and I play a couple games and I'm like, you know what? I think I might be better than a few of these kids. Like I
Yeah,
I had been able to get some points and do a bunch of things that really wasn't my thing, and I was like, I don't know if this is it. Well, I think it was 3 or 4 games in. Barry was actually just a coach in Pee Wee A, and he was like, I'm kind of looking for another defenseman, and like I'll go down and kind of check out these games. And he came and watched one of mine, and I had gone up and down the ice 2 or 3 times, and he's like, okay, well, I'm calling this kid up. Um, Turns out he ended up coaching a development team that was going to play against the rep team that year. And
nice.
so he invited me to play for that as I kept going. And that was kind of like we would practice first thing in the morning before school. So like that was kind of cool. That was a new experience. Like it wasn't just Saturday mornings.
Five
It was kind
five
of
a.m.
yeah.
practice.
No, my mom hated it, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean you're too young to drive or anything, so they're driving you up to the other side of town first thing in the morning. But it was great. It was a great experience to kind of see a higher level. And anyways, uh, did the development team with him. Then the next year he ended up coaching the rep team. So
With Serge
try out,
Baudry.
yeah, try out the rep team. I make my first hockey rep team, and it kind of snowballs from there. Like my whole life from there was basically traveling with sports and doing the sports things and meeting people through that, and kind of everything kind of developed from there. So honestly, it was just him kind of seeing me taking a chance a couple 3 or 4 times on me to do stuff, and it kind of opened my world to a bunch of new things that I would never have done and really come out of my shell back then.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing. I coached a lot of hockey growing up and coached a few rep teams. I coached some just strictly travel teams. That's all we
Yeah.
did. But yeah, it's amazing. And I know Barry Reed and I know
Yeah.
Serge Baudry, and they coached together for a while, those two. Yeah, that's awesome. Um, what kind of an impact do you think sports has played on your life? Like uh, with the hockey family or the soccer family. I mean, there's a whole group of people,
Yeah.
right?
Um, everything. Um, I still am shy to a certain extent, and I'm not very outgoing. But being on those teams and being around all sorts of different people and learning to be a team, and no matter how different you all are, same sort of goals, and been on good teams and bad teams, and everything. It really, like you said, it really brought me out of my shell, where I was like, oh, okay, like um, somebody was like, uh, at one point they were asking to for rooms, and they're like, oh, is John in my room? He's really funny. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm really funny. Like, I don't know, I guess. But like,
You're
you
the
just
funny
learn
kid.
stuff about yourself being around other people and kind of seeing everything, right? And yeah, I mean, teamwork, striving for a goal, how to deal with losing all the time, how to deal with pressure of winning, all that kind of stuff. And
Pressure of winning is almost as bad as the pressure of losing.
yeah, yeah, they're both tough. Like, to be the best team, you're always on top of your game. To be the worst team, you're always trying to do better. And sometimes it's just it won't happen. It won't. There's bigger teams, there's stronger teams. You can work as hard as you want, but and sometimes hard work can beat skill. But if you have skill and hard work, it is going to be very tough to beat that sort of thing. So, I've been on um, soccer teams that have won gold medals, and you know, we were the best. We knew we were the best. We played bigger, we played stronger than a lot of other teams. We weren't the most skilled, but we were bigger and stronger, and that's what we did to win. And you just find that thing that you're better at than somebody else, and then you kind of exploit them that way. So, like, all these kind of things were learned through sports. Uh, I have friendships still now, with like really good friendships from sporting teams, that those guys I'd go to bat for all day, because
Yeah,
they were so great to me, and you want to be great for them. So
that's awesome. That's incredible. Um, who's your idol? Who do you look at and say, I want to be like this person, or stand for what they stand for, kind of thing? Like,
I had a lot of sports idols growing up. Um, there were people that you wanted to be like. That's how you wanted to model yourself for. So, like, for hockey, I was a big Ray Bork fan. I thought he kind of did it all and quietly would do it. Wasn't flashy.
classy.
Wasn't, yeah, like totally one of those guys, and just gets the job done, keeps it simple. And I focus like my sports around that. Now, I don't know what type of person he is, obviously, because I was younger and kind of saw that. But um, there were the other ones too, where you were like, those people aren't like me, and I kind of admire that too. Like, there was a soccer player named Eric Cantona, and he was just mean and skilled and like very outgoing and brash and cocky and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm none of that stuff. So that's kind of cool. Like, I kind of like that too.
I want to be
But
like him.
yeah, I don't think I wanted to be like him, but it was a different point of view from where I am. So you kind of look at that too. But there was a kid from Fort McMurray. Um, I say kid, I mean, he's older than me, but uh, Chris Phillips was somebody from your hometown. Um, you kind of start seeing some similarities between you and him, like, you know, small family guy, like, quiet, like, just kind of your typical stay-at-home defenseman, just like a quiet guy, good guy, like very nice. And he's the reason why I like the Senators.
Yep.
He got drafted there, and I've liked them ever since. And you know, my mom knew his family. I think most people in Fort McMurray kind of knew who Garth Phillips was, and
Yep.
um, you know, we me and Allison went to Ottawa for shortly after we were married, and my mom talked to his parents, And sure enough, after the game, we got to go down and meet with him and talk to him and just have like a regular conversation with this person that, you've kind of looked up to for a very long time and been like, wow, like look what you've done, and just talk to
Yeah.
him, and just a nice guy. Like,
He's just a regular guy.
yeah, and like Allison and I think her brother Mikey ran into him in an airport and like just took a picture with him, and he's like, no problem, and like
Yeah.
just like salt of the earth type of guy. So like that was somebody I was like, wow, like you can be big and famous and do all this stuff, but still just be like the Fort McMurray guy that was just super nice and is nice to people. So
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of quality I like to see in people, is just be nice to people, no matter what.
Yeah. When I was doing the mascot for the Oil Barons
Yeah,
was one of the years that he played up there with the Oil Barons. It was awesome. And there was so many great guys that played in
yeah,
Fort McMurray too.
yeah, yeah,
It
hundred
was
percent.
it was incredible.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
and
great.
Chris Phillips is awesome. I worked a little bit with his dad through hockey and stuff, especially with stuff to do with the Oil Barons,
Mhm.
because I was involved with them quite a bit.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's pretty awesome, and he's a great guy.
yeah.
How important is education in your life? You're well educated. You've gone to university and
I've done
stuff, right?
college. I've done
College,
some
okay.
college. Um, I think it's important, um, and it depends what type of person you are. Um, I'm I went to college. I did what I needed to do to get my bearings. I built a foundation. I didn't go any farther than that. I haven't gone
Okay.
to go and get my degree or anything like that. I think it's important because like I said, you need that solid foundation. But I'm somebody who thrives more in hands-on experience, and
Okay.
it's why I chose the college. They said university, like in college, you can kind of go through college and kind of get into the industry that way, and kind of veer off into that direction. Whereas university, it's more like book learning for the most part of it. So
Right.
um, I think some people thrive in that university environment where it's learning and you can grasp that. But for me, it's more like, okay, this is a good foundation, so I can use it to come back to. But I want to be doing those things.
Right.
So I was always I was always told I wasn't a great practice player. And I think that's kind of what education is. It's the
Yeah.
practice for the game.
Yeah.
And I when I made the second rep I ever made, I went on a trip where they had before the trip had started, they were expecting to cut me. They needed to bring me to see, but I was expected to be cut by the end of the trip.
Right.
After playing all those games, then they were like, no, we can't cut you anymore. Like we
Yeah.
were going to, because of all the practice, and like you weren't excelling there, but then you got to the game and then you used all that stuff in the game, and it was completely different, right?
It's
So
the
I
game
think
pressure.
that's how I feel about school. Like it is a great thing to build up anything that you need, but it's in the real world where you're getting your experience.
Right. Right. That's awesome. Yeah. So like, which one do you think carries more importance, the classroom or life lessons?
Life, life.
Life
I do.
lessons.
I think you need, like I said, the class lessons come in handy for the life ones, but the life ones are going to teach you what being in class can't. And
Right.
it's been experienced for me. I struggled a lot, especially at the end. Just as I was finishing, it was very difficult for me in school. But as soon as I got back out, and I'm like, this is what I need it for, then it wasn't an issue for me anymore. But
Right.
being back here, being like, what is this for? Like, what's the point? Like, I don't work for ABC companies, so like figuring out their stuff doesn't mean squat to me. Whereas, I work for this company, I work for company D. Well, now I know what this is for. So now I can use it
Right.
to go. So I feel like, I think education's important, but I think the life lessons for me is where the importance is.
More important,
More
or a
important. More
stronger
important.
importance.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Um, what do you think is your biggest motivator?
Myself. Trying to prove myself. I think more than anything else. Try to prove myself to my family, to my coworkers, my friends. Well, whatever it is I'm doing, I'm trying. I try to prove myself and my worth at all times. I think that's my biggest motivator, is to not let myself down. Like,
Yeah. Nice. So you're probably your biggest push.
yeah, my biggest push, my biggest holdback, all those things. And
Yeah.
depending on what it is, yeah, I'm the obstacle in my own way. So get out of my way and do what it is, then it's great. But yeah,
Yeah. What is your biggest fear?
it's failure. It's not being good at something. I have a very hard time when I'm not good at something, and I have a hard time continuing on being not good at something. Um, the example for that is I don't know how to drive stick because I was so horrible when I started, and I get so frustrated with myself that it becomes an issue. So um, yeah, I just remember we had this little car that my mom bought. My brother, no problem, picks it up, driving, no problem, loves it. Me,
Not
like,
so much.
try all the common sense in the world to figure it out. Not working. Um, Allison tried, did not work. It ended up in a big fight. So yeah, I don't drive sticks. So I think
Eh,
I have my fear is failure,
yeah.
is not being good at something, and whatever it is. You're always afraid for your kids and stuff, but you just don't want to fail anybody, and that's my biggest.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, what inspired you to choose the career you're in?
Um, you know, I've always just been. I feel comfortable with numbers. I do accounting for a company, and not necessarily an accountant, but accounting duties. And I think I just feel very comfortable around numbers. I understand it. I understand computers. I understand all that kind of stuff all together. So it really just feels like when I'm at work, I'm just comfortable. I know what I'm doing. Feel I know exactly what's going on. So like that's why I just feel very comfortable.
Nice. Okay. If you could do anything else, what would it be?
I would love about sports all day long.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. When I went down to uh, I moved down to Lethbridge to go to college. Um, after finishing, I did a couple of years up in Fort McMurray, mainly just to play soccer. I got on the college team there and kind of took 2 years of schooling just to play soccer. And
The
then after
Huskies.
that, yeah, after that 2 years, I was just like, okay, well, I just took some computer courses and things along those lines, some stuff that went way above my head. And I was like, okay, that's not for me. But that was kind of just to tide me over just so I could play soccer for a few more years. And then moved down to Lethbridge to go to school. And when I was down there, I was looking through all the courses, and business really stood out to me because I was like, I need that as a solid base for most things. So business sounds good. And then the other thing I saw was their communications program. And I heard they had a very good communications program down there, and that's radio, all that kind of stuff, right?
Nice.
And I, I hear people on the radio, and I was like, oh, I just love to sit there and talk about
Yeah.
sports all day long. And people at work would be like, John, you talk about sports a lot here. So, but one of my buddies at work was always like, man, I wish you had your own show. I'd listen to the Jon Bird show every day. And I was like, me too. I would love to listen to the Jon Bird show every day. Some people
Well,
joked around with me and
maybe you
Allison
need to
too.
start a podcast.
Some people joked around too that me and Allison would make a good radio duo at the same time. I was like, yeah, maybe. It was always like one of those things that I was like, maybe one day, but yeah, that would be something that I would just love
Yeah.
to talk about sports or something like that all day long.
Well, I broadcast hockey for a few years when I was down in the States
Yeah,
on the internet, and I had people listening from all over the world.
yeah,
It was pretty amazing. It was
yeah,
pretty fulfilling. It's one of the things I miss.
yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know that I would
Well,
want to talk about sports all day long,
yeah.
but doing the games and doing the broadcasts was pretty cool.
No,
It was
I
neat.
definitely could do it. And you know what? My players in my video game upstairs, they get great color commentary from me during their games too.
Nice.
Secret passion, I guess.
I saw a YouTube video of a guy who races Hot Wheel cars.
Oh yeah,
He has a little track set up and he
yeah,
has all the cars numbered and painted like all the NASCAR stuff.
yeah.
And they've all got names and everything. And him and his son do it, I believe. And his son sets them all up and they do commentary of the whole thing. They do heats, qualifying heats and races, and they have a lot of followers. You could commentary
Yeah.
your hockey games and just
Oh goodness.
record you playing the game
Yeah.
and voiceover, and
I'd
that would
have to explain the fits of rage that happen after a terrible loss. So it'd be tough. It'd be tough to come back from those. So
well, you can edit those out.
yeah.
That's awesome. That would be pretty cool. If you could do or be anything at all
Yep.
without any possibility of failure, what would it be?
You know, I'd I'd like to, without the possibility of failure, you just want to help people. I think it would be, maybe medical field, but just something to help people. I don't know if there's anything specific that I would think of. The sports thing would be great, but if without the fear of failure or the possibility of failure, you'd want to do your best to just help others. I think with that, um,
Nice.
yeah, like one of those specialty doctors that save one person every year or something with something crazy, like something like that. Like, I just finished watching House and I was like, yeah, somebody that just figures out what's wrong with everybody. I love that one. That'd be a cool one. But, just something that helps people, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on. That's a good one. What do you do in your spare time to take your mind off things?
Video games, sports, all sports things.
Yeah.
Watch a game, play a game, something along those lines. It really puts me into a different world when that stuff's going on. It's different. It's intense. It's roller coaster, and maybe it's not relaxing all the time, but it just
Just takes you
it,
away from real life.
yeah, your brain just goes off and it goes somewhere else and you're in a whole new world, and it's these problems over here, they can wait the 2 hours or the hour, whatever the time is, and
Right.
then yeah, that's what really takes my mind off stuff. Just doing
Nice.
something like that.
Nice. If you had to choose
Hmm.
of all the sports you watch,
Yeah,
if you had to choose one,
yeah.
which one would it be?
Hockey.
Hockey, without
Always
a
always
question.
been. Always been number one.
Yeah.
I I remember this saying that it stuck with me to today. Um, there we were we were playing soccer, and they had one of the big guys from Soccer Alberta come up from the south and come up to Fort McMurray and was like training us, and it's kind of like a training session, kind of scouting, seeing if anybody up here is good enough for like an Alberta
Right.
program or Canadian program, that sort of thing, right? So they're
Yeah.
running us through these drills, and um, an older guy, and I'm pretty sure his name was Mikey Mellon. Um, the, the coach was like, what are you guys doing? Why are you guys fooling around? He's like, are you guys soccer players? And he was just like, no, we're hockey players, but we play soccer in the summertime. And I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of how a lot of us operate here. Like we're
Yeah.
pretty much just waiting for hockey
Hmm.
season to swirl around. So I
We're
always kind of felt that
golfing
way
because
too.
we lost the playoffs.
Yeah. Like I just like I kind of do other stuff just to wait for hockey to come back around. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think hockey of all of them.
I've seen the shirt a few times. It says life is what happens between hockey games.
Yeah. That's what my childhood was, and yeah, like
Yeah.
my mom must probably felt the same way, like
Yeah.
just a hockey game or hockey
She
practice or
ran
whatever it was.
lots. Yeah.
Yeah,
Both
hundred
you and your
percent.
brother played too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of time spent in a rink growing up.
Yeah. Well, we had six kids,
Yes.
and we spent a lot of time running, and sometimes my wife and I would run two different directions with three
Yep.
kids each to different arenas.
Yeah.
And sometimes we would pack lunches because we would spend all day Saturday at the rink or all day
Yeah.
Sunday at the rink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. For sure.
definitely. And I know a lot of kids from up north when
Yeah.
they would go to the rink, even if they played in the morning or something, they would stay there half the day anyways,
Yep.
either watching or playing with their friends because
We
all their
would
friends were at the rink,
do that all the time. Just go by the rink and see what was going on. Like it
right?
was just like a thing to do. You just go there and see what's going on, if there's anything, or not. Maybe if you get a loose puck and you just kick the puck around or whatever it is.
Right? How many
Remember
times
all
did
that?
you do that in the hallway by the dressing
Yeah,
rooms?
100%, 100%.
That's like I said, that hockey family, right? You
Yeah,
get to know that group of people,
yeah,
and no matter when you go, they're always there.
yep.
We forgot to pick up one of my kids one time after one of their games, and we realized it about three quarters the way home. So we turned around and went back to get him because
Yeah,
we dropped them off at all different rinks, right?
yep.
So we realized, and we go zipping back up to Beacon Hill. And you remember Grandma from the concession stand?
Oh, absolutely, Miss Jomas.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was sitting there, and Cassidy was sitting waiting for us, half dressed in half
Yeah.
gear, watching the games, and she had brought him out some fries or something.
Yeah.
But we come back, and we were so devastated as parents.
Yeah.
Oh, we're sorry we forgot you, blah blah blah. He's like, yeah, I was watching hockey, no problem.
Yeah.
Grandma gave me some French fries,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Nicest lady.
it's the hockey family, man.
Yeah.
It's everybody takes care of everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's awesome. What do you think is the biggest lesson in life that you've learned so far?
Hard work is worth it. Um, Hard work is worth it. If you put everything you have into something, even if it doesn't go the way it does, you think it should, it's gonna pay off in some way or another. Maybe it's not this time, but maybe you've learned something. Maybe it's something else. I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason,
Yeah.
and I think if you put all your work into something, it will pay off eventually, and hard work does pay off at the end.
Nice. Nice. Sense of accomplishment too,
Yes, hundred
right?
percent,
Right.
100%.
Yeah. What one thing um that you've accomplished in your life so far are you most proud of?
Um,
Other than being a Senators fan.
Surviving that, yeah, that's been a rough journey. um, I think two things. Um, one is convincing my wife that we are to be together, and two,
Okay.
I think, is what it was actually making the second hockey rep team I ever made. The one where I went and played those games. I think
Nice.
I I knew my feeling going away that I had that feeling that I was on the outside looking in. I
On
was like,
on the bubble.
yeah, and I was like, you know what? Like everybody's older than me. I'm younger than everybody here. Like maybe I just need a year to get bigger, stronger, and all that. And then when I went and played those games, and I knew, no, this is where I need to. Like I need to be here. I can do this. And the
Nice.
fact that I made it was unbelievable because I got the feeling I got from getting on that bus to the feeling I got when I got off after the coach talked to me and said, you know what, you earned it while you were here. That that changed my attitude towards everything where I, went in feeling, no, I'm not adequate enough to after leaving being like, no, I deserve to be here and I should be here. So
Nice.
that feeling just has carried on through my life that, you know what, I can that. Like even if I don't feel like it, if I just put all that work in, then I'll feel like yes, I do belong here. Yeah, those are that one for sure. And then yes, the fact that I got my wife to marry me was pretty impressive, I think. So.
So that being said, what's something you've done in your life that you wish you could go back and change? Probably not the wife part, right?
No, no, that went well. I think that went well. She might not agree every day. That's okay. That went well for me. So,
Right.
uh, something I wish I would change. Um, it's hard to say. I don't live with any regrets for anything that happened. There's a lot of dumb things I did that I was probably like, yeah, probably shouldn't have done that. Like that wasn't very smart. You shouldn't have done that. You
Learning
know,
lessons though, right?
yeah, yeah. I think maybe treating a few people a little bit better. When you're a kid, you don't recognize that you could kind of be mean by just not being kind to somebody just by ignoring something or whatever it is. I
Yeah.
think maybe that's what I would feel like, oh, I should probably go back and, maybe maybe say hi to that person, maybe ask him to hang out, maybe do something like that. Maybe not
Just
just ignore whatever, you know what I mean?
just treat them a little better.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and like nothing crazy. Like I wouldn't say I bullied anybody or anything like that. I just think I could have been nicer rather than whatever, ignorant
Right.
to it or whatever.
Right.
Bit better. Yeah,
Well, and that's the biggest thing I think. Like I talk with a lot of people about this question. If even with all the experiences you've gained from what you've done,
yeah,
whether right or wrong, good or bad, whatever,
yeah,
you've learned something along the way.
yeah,
So would you really go back and change something?
yeah,
Or would you leave it and say, yeah, no, I learned from that,
yeah. And you
right?
know what? I have like it is a big thing in my life now. You got to be nice to people, and I think about it. Like you think about that kind of stuff. And
Right?
like I said, it wasn't like I was bullying anybody by any means. It's just like I've been nicer. So just try to be nicer to
Right.
people. Yeah,
And again, if you went back in time and changed something, would
yeah.
you be the same person you are now?
Probably not.
Right?
Probably not. Nope.
Maybe she wouldn't have married you,
I'm
right?
pretty funny. She probably still would have married me.
you are you are pretty
Yeah.
funny. She probably thinks you're funny,
Yeah.
sarcastically,
Yeah.
as she goes, ha ha.
Yeah.
What would you say has made the biggest difference in how successful you've become?
Um, Feeling like I contribute, I do every day. Whether it be at work, which I in September it's been 10 years that I've been at the same job.
Nice.
That's the longest by 9 years that I was at a job from before that. Um, every other job was about a year, and a lot of that was me because they were jobs. They weren't my what I had planned on doing. They were just jobs that I had taken, and you know, you're
Something to
just doing
carry you
it.
through.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
get hired, and you're like, okay, I can do this, so I'll do it. And the job before this one, I hated. It was an absolute lesson that you need to love what you do because it took a toll on me physically.
Yeah.
By they thought I had an ulcer at one point because I had been so worried and freaked out about the job I was doing. It was a bad environment. I got along with some of the people, and it just wasn't good. The job wasn't great. Pay was fine, but again, that's not a motivator for me. And when I got the job that I'm in now, being there a month, and I knew this is different. This
Yeah.
is this is what this is where I need to be. This is the type of place I want to be. And then you put everything you have into it, and then I think I've added value to where we are. So
Nice.
I think that's what has kind of got me to where I am now. And then I think the same thing for family. Like if you just put what you need to into it, then good things can happen.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, with some of that involved, what one thing in your past do you think has given you greatest life lesson?
I think getting fired from that job. I didn't get fired for performance. What they had done was hire somebody with more experience, had me train them, and then they fired me.
Let you
And I
go.
think it was hard. It was definitely the hardest thing I've ever been through is being told that you're not good enough and we don't need you anymore. And it's like, holy smokes, like what am I going to do? Is anybody ever going to need me anymore? Like
Right.
it really it hurts when that
That
happens. And
that had to
they
play
weren't,
its toll on
yeah,
you.
like they weren't direct. It wasn't like mean or anything when they let me go. It was very professional, but that's what you come out hearing whatever they said. Like you kind of go out of your body for a little bit and you're just like, what's happening? Like what's going on? And you kind of just leave and you're like, well, that's what I did for the last year. And now like, what do I do tomorrow? And like, is anybody else going to hire me? And um, yeah, I think getting through that and getting the job that I have now has taught me than everything. Like you need to be happy with what you do so that it doesn't affect everything else around you. So
Yeah.
that was my biggest lesson I learned.
Nice. Um, what's the greatest piece of advice you've ever been given, and who gave it to you?
Um, Listen, I think um, it was actually taught in a seminar that I had done for work, and they were like, "You need to listen to people, not just hear what they're saying, but listen to what they're saying to you." There's the difference between hearing them and listening, and when you're talking to somebody, really listen to what they say. Don't just and I just struggle with this and I try very, very hard. But when somebody's talking, sometimes I'll be like, okay, what am I gonna say to this in my brain? And I'll be like thinking of something that I'm gonna say next rather than listening to what they're actually saying.
Right.
And that was something that I thought, wow, like it's something you don't think of, but if you're actively listening to somebody, then you can really hear what they're talking about and listen to what they're saying instead of just being like, oh yeah, cool, but it's kind of like when I did this and then you're going off on your story then. So
Right.
it's like, oh, this listen, like it sounds simple that you just listen, but it was something that kind of hit home when I heard it, like how he said, like you just gotta listen to people. That's like
Yeah.
so
My
so easy.
yeah.
But
My wife and I say that all the time because a lot of times, just like you said, people will hear you talking,
yeah,
but they did not listen. They
hmm
they they aren't, like you said, actively listening.
yeah,
You can sit in a crowded room and hear people talking,
yeah,
but can you actually listen to the conversations or understand what they're talking about? You
yeah,
have to listen. You have to be engaged, right?
yeah, yeah.
So it's definitely a thing,
hmm
right? Um, what do you think? Let's see. Sorry. See where I am. How do you know when you know?
I think it's when your brain and your heart and your gut all match up and they all feel the same way about something. I think it's
Okay.
when all those three things that you have are like, yeah, thing. I think the when those three things happen all together, then you're like, okay, yeah, I think that's it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. What will be meaningful to you in 5 years?
What will be meaningful to me in 5 years?
Yeah.
Um, I just want to see where my kids are at in 5 years. You watch them every day, and it's amazing the things that they pick up. It's amazing the things they learn. It's amazing the habits from you and your partner and the friends that they pick up. And you're like, I hope they get the good ones.
Right? Yeah. Where'd
But
you learn that from?
yeah,
From you, Dad. Yeah,
I think that's going to be something that I'm fascinated to know in about 5 years.
that's awesome. What is your idea of perfect happiness?
Um, it'd be easy to say, sit back, relax on a beach somewhere, and just be relaxed. But that wouldn't be me. I couldn't just relax. I like to relax for a little bit, but I need to be doing something. And the scary thing is, we've talked. You know, the Oilers lottery comes around, you get a ticket, and you're like, maybe I could win this thing. Maybe it makes life a little bit easier. Maybe there's no stress with stuff like that. But then at the same time, I was like, what would I do all day though? Like, I need that sense of doing something to accomplish something.
Well, if you
So
if you if you had that money to make it easier on you, you could start
yes,
your sports show.
well, that's it, right? Then there would be something to do. I would need that other thing to do with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it would be everybody kind of taken care of, um, everybody comfortable. Um, I'm a huge fan of my family and Allison's family too. Um, we get along so well with everybody and enjoy spending time together to the point where we even looked at this really giant house that we might all live in together at one point, and it didn't sound crazy for 5 seconds. So I mean, in 10 seconds it sounded crazy, but in 5 seconds it didn't sound so crazy. So
Yeah.
I'd like everybody to kind of be around. I enjoy that. My
Nice.
family, my parents moved out here, from Newfoundland and Labrador. That's where both my parents are from. That's where they grew up. That's where they lived. Dad came out, and Fort McMurray, went up there and worked in the oil patch. His brother came out, so I had a couple cousins up in Fort Mac, but weren't like tight by any means. And there, my family I visited every 4 years, and that was like our vacations was going back to Newfoundland to visit everybody.
Yeah.
Which, as a kid, you know, a beautiful place. We had some fun there, but guess who didn't go to Disneyland when they were a kid? They went to visit their aunts and uncles. So, you know,
Right.
there's that going on. So, like, I never had that close, tight knit family stuff. So, like, to be a part of that now is just, it's just totally different from me.
Yeah.
Totally different for me. Like,
Yeah.
my family's super close. We did tons of road trips. We did tons of stuff, spending time together. But yeah, to have like an extended family and bigger family that's around visiting all the time and friendly and like not uncomfortable because you've only seen them 4 years ago, and
I
you
remember
know,
when you were only
yeah,
this tall.
they talk different than you do. It's like it's very hard when you're a kid. So
Yeah.
no, I think kind of everybody being around and comfortable would be, like happiness while
Nice.
still accomplishing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then obviously family is very important to you.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. Why is it important to have good or positive relationships in your life?
Um, I think it's good to have those for the bad times. Um, it's everybody's going to go through it. It doesn't matter how positive of a person you are. Um, how if you try to see the good in everything, there'll be those times that it'll hit you and you won't know what to do. And to have a positive person around to show you good things is wonderful, and it's something that every is, if you're having a bad time and you're with somebody else who also is, commiserating works for a certain point, but you both just stay down. So you need that person to uplift you. And I think we all go through the ups and downs, and you need somebody to pick you up when you're down.
Nice. So then that positive attitude um, in your dealings, be it family, friends, work, even in your alone time.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Do you do any type of meditation, yoga, any sort of self-healing, self-awareness type work?
Um, well, I'm not very bendy. I'm not built that way. I don't know if I've ever been able to touch my toes, to be honest with you, even in the best of days. So no, I've never tried yoga. It's something that it does interest me. You hear everybody's doing it, and you're like, it's stretching. So how hard could it be? I mean, I know how I move, but I know that would be not easy. So I was like, I don't know, but I do find time for prayer, and it's mostly with myself. We used to do some family prayers, and we do family prayers at night sometimes, and do that. But there, sometimes if things aren't going well or something, I'll just go take 5 minutes out of my day, kind of go away from everything, and just say a little prayer, and
Nice.
kind of just zone out, and hope for those good feelings to come back, which they do. So
Nice. That's awesome. If you had a magic wand and you could do one thing for yourself, what would it be?
for myself, might seem like I'm thinking of something really deep right now, but it really isn't. It's really, I just want to be like 2 or 3 inches taller, because I was always told I was going to be over 6 feet, and they never let me be over, and it never got to over 6 feet. Like this is last couple inches, I think it would really even me out. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
If you could write a letter to your youngest self,
yeah.
what age would it be and what
Mhm.
kind of advice would you give?
Um, it would have been um, hmm, Well, there's two things I'm thinking of. One would have been like uh, when I was playing hockey, I was like, just man up and fight somebody. Like, just pick somebody bigger than you and take them on and see how it goes. If you get beaten up, you get beaten up. It's okay. That'd be one of them. The other one,
Uh,
it would have been when I was uh, I went when I was in my first year in school down in Lethbridge, and I would have just been like, just keep doing what you're doing. Everything's going to be okay. Um, there were some times where I was kind of lost in college, and like, I had friends. I had a great roommate. She helped me learn how to take care of myself, like to be on my own and really like helped me, gave me some responsibilities while I was there, and showed me the way. But there's a lot of times where I just felt really lost, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know, like nothing's kind of making sense here. Um, like just personal relationships with stuff wasn't working, and I was like, man, what is going on here? And I think I would just be like, keep going. You keep trucking through this. You work hard, and then everything's it's gonna work out for you. And I think that's what I would do.
nice.
Did those things. I just kept going. So it would be
And
advice.
it,
I'd be like, oh, way to go, John. Thanks for the advice. Awesome.
yeah,
Why can't you give me some winning lottery numbers or something? Like,
yeah, right.
what are you what are you doing with this advice? And just keep going. But that would be classic me. So yeah.
Yeah, but look at you now.
Yeah.
You're successful. You got a nice family.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
else
no, I
is there,
wouldn't
right?
change it. So there wouldn't be something where I'd be like, change this about you or take this route instead of doing this because this is the path I want to be down. There's
Just
no there was no decision where I was like, I think I really went the wrong way on that one. So
yeah,
I think it would just be an encouragement letter. Just
nice.
keep it up. You can do it.
Just know
Um,
that everything's gonna work out.
yeah, maybe don't put that pen in the laundry that one day. Maybe don't do that. That was a
I
mess.
I hate when that happens,
Yeah.
and that's when she stopped doing laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could have lunch and a chat with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
There's so many interesting things. But I don't, knowing me, I wouldn't use them to the full effect that they probably should be. And I think I would be wasting those people's time. And I'd be like, I don't know what to talk to you about. This is weird. I don't know what to talk to you about. So I'd like somebody who would be able to like not entertain me, but they'd be able to do it. Like I listened to one of my favorite comedians, and he's not necessarily a comedian. He's Conan O'Brien. I listen to his podcast all the time, and he's somebody who I'd love to sit down and chat with. He seems like somebody who would have so many stories and would keep the conversation going when I leave it the ball drop and be
Yeah.
like, I don't know what to say, and then he would say something. Like it just seems like that would be something that I'd really enjoy. I know if I would, I know it'd be kind of a waste as to like all the things in the world you could probably find out, but I'd really just like to be like, I think it would be like an awesome day just to be there. You have to take me somewhere nice though. So
Yeah, there you go, right?
yeah,
Dinner on a beach somewhere.
yeah.
If you could send one message to the whole world, what would it be?
Be nicer to everybody. Be nicer.
Nice.
Whatever you're doing, be nicer. It is sad that your people are just being mean to people for no reason at
Right.
all. Like just be nicer. That would be
It would
my whole message.
it would cure a lot of things.
Right? Like it's like why do you
Yeah.
dislike that person? Because you were told to dislike that person? Makes no sense to me. Be
Yeah.
nicer.
Yeah. If you could live anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
where would it be?
I would not move too far from here. I would go down to the mountains maybe. Um, it, I loved Switzerland, but only because it reminded me of here. When we were over there, I was like, this place reminds me so much of just being like in Banff and Jasper, and like I said, I loved it over there. It was beautiful, lots of mountain ranges and all that stuff. But um, I think it would just be in the mountains here. I'm not somebody who does well in warm temperatures, so I need the winter. I need that season, and I do love the mountains. It's a nice place to be. So I think honestly that might be it. Just down in the mountains somewhere, Canmore, Banff, Jasper, any one of those.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I work with a guy that lives in Canmore, and we talk quite a bit. He mountain climbs,
yeah.
and it's pretty amazing some of the stories he's got. But he lives in Canmore; he's right there, so it's pretty
I
awesome.
remember, and I mean, to just look out your window and see that it's
Yeah,
crazy. Like, even being so close, you're like, why am I not here all the time? Like, why don't I just come
right.
down for the weekend and look? But it's just not real. But
Yeah,
it's every time you're there, you're just like you feel that wow, everything's bigger. Like your problems are nothing. Like there's so much out there right now.
yeah, yeah. It is amazing, definitely. What type of music makes you happy? What's your go-to feel-good music?
Um, I I I like everything. I'll give anything a chance, especially if it's live. Um, I've gotten into um, jazz over the last few years. I've gotten, um, I mean, my parents grew up a lot of country music with them. My dad would always have country music on while he was getting ready, or on our trips. We had cases of tapes back then. We had
Eight
tape.
tracks?
Yeah, no, just tapes, just
Oh,
tapes, just
cassettes.
cassettes. Yeah,
Okay,
just cassettes.
not that
Um,
old.
yeah, cassette tapes that we'd go through, and like there was some rock in there, but it was mostly country. And I remember growing up and my dad having on um, the country music station, either on the radio or on TV, and song would be on. And he'd be like, "Who's this?" And I'd be like, and I guess like the regular people, I'd be like Randy Travis or Dolly Parton, somebody somebody that I
Yeah,
knew, and he'd be like, no, it's this person, and like he just knew all of it. Of course, it was that as I grew older, I realized that the Fort McMurray country music station played the same songs over and over again, so it
so
really
you got
wasn't
to
that
know.
impressive. But he always seemed to just know that, and I was like, that's cool that he knew that, and like kind of instilled that in a way that you didn't even know. Like while we were traveling, music on, and like be like,
Yeah,
oh, these songs, and it would just be like a soundtrack to your childhood. And so really, I started with country, and then like had some rock in there, and then when I started getting my own stuff, I really got into punk music, and I was into that for a while. But I still didn't even mind like the pop at the time, and then I got into some rap later. So honestly, like I'll just listen to anything that kind of comes on. I'm okay with. Um, I am finding myself to be that old person who's like, "What kind of name is that for a band or whatever?" I said that the other day, and I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "Where did that come from?" I was like, "Man, did I used to rag on my parents for saying how ridiculous the name like." I don't know, Blink 182 is, and now it's like whatever. And I'm like, that's a
Easy's in the
ridiculous
flower
name.
pot.
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, oh no, I'm becoming that person. But yeah, I'll give any sort of music a chance. But yeah, I really, if I need to calm down, like anything acoustical, I love too.
Nice. And like you said, any music live is cool to see.
Oh, I I
It's
I
I've
went
seen
and
I've seen some things that I would never listen to on the radio
yep,
or go by for that matter.
yep,
But when you see them live, it's just totally different. It's an experience,
yeah, yeah.
right?
It's an absolute experience. Everything about it. It's the atmosphere. It's people around. I mean, that's not a thing anymore, but hopefully
Right.
that comes
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
because it was amazing. We went and saw uh, even here we went and saw The Sound of Music a couple years ago, and I was like, again, that movie comes on. I mean, that's going off the TV immediately. Like, I'm not watching it, but we went and saw it, and I'm like, okay, all these songs that you like heard of, and you're like, they're not good songs. You don't want to listen to them, but when you hear it live and you hear whoever it is performing that right then and there for you,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing, no
It
matter what
is.
it is.
It
And
is.
I mean, um, when we were over in Europe and we went into London, we went and saw a show there too. We saw Les Mis, and it was phenomenal. Like, I had been looking forward to my soccer game I was going to go see over there. That you know, a lifetime of waiting for it, and then we saw the show afterwards. I was like, and I'm having a hard time picking the best moment from all of it. Like being there and like listening to it and how powerful that music actually is. Like being anywhere live is amazing.
Yeah. 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 That's awesome. If you were stranded on a desert island and the device you had could only play one song over and over
Yeah,
and it would never shut off,
yeah.
what one song would you pick?
Um, it would be mine and Allison's wedding song, "Swing Life Away" by Rise Against. A very mellow tune, but it picks up a little bit in the middle too. And then there's just all the memories from a lot of different times when we've listened to that song, and and those would all come flooding back. So the memories alone with the song would be something worth listening to over and over again. So not to
Nice.
mention I like the song anyway.
Yeah. And the memories of your wife is pretty good too.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I hope she's not watching. Okay, so one final question.
Mhm.
Um, Jon Bird has gone through this whole life. He's learned everything he's ever wanted to, grown to be, the smartest guy ever, and accomplished everything just 100%. And when you pass, nothing that is ever known of you to younger generations, they have no idea who Jon Bird is.
Yeah,
And you could leave behind 3 lessons for life. What would those 3 lessons be?
they would be they would be work hard, be nice, and laugh.
Nice.
Those are the 3 things that can get me through almost every day, and those would be the 3 things. Laughter, maybe be the first one because sometimes you have to laugh so you don't cry. So
Right? Right, exactly.
so yeah, it's
Exactly.
those would be the 3.
That's awesome. Thanks for joining me, Jon. This is great. It's fun chatting with you and stuff. And I chatted with your wife the other day. It's amazing. And I hope people can listen and take some insights from your life and maybe use them in their lives, or maybe some things that we talked about that they never thought about. So hopefully we
Or they
can
got a whole bunch of sports talks that they don't
or
want. So
yeah, well,
either way.
maybe you'll get people calling you to start this talk show with them. That would be awesome too.
It would.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jon. This has been Lessons for Life. I'm Troy Hutkins, and this guest that I have today was Jon Bird. Tune in again next time for another podcast. Thank you for joining us.